like you all to be welcome very much and very heartfelt in my webinar about Kilimanjaro, climbing Kilimanjaro. I'm calling here, or I'm sitting here, so to speak, with my background Kilimanjaro, but in reality, I'm sitting in Portugal. I have a country house here at the Algarve, and from time to time, I travel wherever my expeditions take me. So I want to start the presentation now, and we'll put this full screen. So, okay, I remain in the little corner there, so you see me speaking. So, first, I want to say that you have been invited by Jennings, and my name is Karsten Jannicke. I'm German from Berlin, and I'm traveling since all my life. My daddy has taken me into the mountains in my childhood, and from there, I got wings and went out into the world on my own with my friends. I've guided in Kamchatka. I've been a camp manager in Kenya. And as you can see in the lower left corner, I've guided on Kili 10 times. I summited Kili with guests, groups from 2 to 42 people. I crossed the Patagonian ice shield on a new route. And I'm also friends with some environmentalists, because my idea of tourism is that it should always benefit the communities living in or around national parks. And there you can see, this is the famous chimpanzee, Jane Goodell, chimpanzee researcher Jane Goodell, whom I met in Arusha. And I lived in Arusha, the safari capital of Tanzania, for 9 years, and basically operated Kilimanjaro expeditions nearly every day for 9 years. So I think I know a lot. Of course, I don't know everything, and my webinar will be subjective. So it is my idea how to do Kilimanjaro right, and what you need to prepare, etc. But there are a million other opinions, but I assume that I know a little bit about it because I organized over 1,000 expeditions on Kilimanjaro. So, our agenda is that introduction, we have that behind us. Polls, I will ask 1 or 2 questions during the webinar. And after my presentation, we have a Q&A, and you can ask away whatever question has not been answered in my presentation. So first of all, don't panic. I have seen people from all walks of life making it to the summit. It is not easy. It is a challenge from some people, the challenge of a lifetime, but it is very doable if you let yourself time. And if you go with a nice guide, slowly, with everything that we talk about later, it is possible for everybody. Scientists say only 3 to 5% of all people will feel high altitude symptoms a bit stronger or are not able to continue. I had weeks on end with everybody summiting. It is hard, but it's absolutely doable, so don't panic. So, the most important person, and that can also be a woman, not just a man, but the majority of guides in Tanzania are men, so forgive me for that picture, but he's a good old friend of mine. The guide they are wonderful. They are the most wonderful human beings I've met in my life. They have a great emotional intelligence. They know how to do first aid. They know how to guide. They know how to manage a team with quite professionalism. You will love your guide. They make the experience an experience of your lifetime. It's totally okay before your start in Arusha, in your hotel, your lodge, to have a goodbye beer or to salute your start of your expedition, no problem. Don't chastise yourself. If you would like a beer to cover your nervousness, totally fine. Yeah, it is not a 100-meter hurdle sprint. It is a slow adventure. So all good. Let's boil it down to some facts that I experienced over my time in Tanzania and on Kilimanjaro. And this is a crucial point for me personally. 20 to 40,000, I think last year, 30,000 people climb Kilimanjaro every year. Astonishingly, in an average, only 60% summit. Not with my companies, because we never offered Marangu. Marangu route, 5 days, has a success rate of only 60%, and 5 days are not enough to acclimatize. But it is the most offered or most sold route. I don't know why, and I don't support it. When you go with top companies, top quality companies that are registered under KPAP, we come to KPAP later, what it is. Our success rates, and it's not marketing, in the companies I worked for were 97 to 98 point something percent. Yeah, as I said, weeks on end where everybody summited. It is about the quality of the company and the way you do it that guarantees a success. We come now to the routes. There are several routes. I will focus on some that I recommend and that are very often booked and chosen. So all routes start at around 2,000 meters. Some, like the Shira route, or also partly some companies do the Limosho route from 3,000 meters. And this is what I would not recommend. If you hear that from your company, we start in 3,000. No, it should start at around 2,000, because the key to your success is slow acclimatization. So a very popular route is the Machame route. Machame route is a 7-day route that I very much like. It's very scenic, and you can see the camps along the way: Machame Camp, Shira 2, then Lava Tower, which we don't usually sleep at. I have done it, but it's too high for acclimatization, because acclimatization should be walk high, sleep low. Walk high, sleep low. So companies who sleep at Lava Tower don't choose. Lava Tower, you go past and you go to Barranco Camp, then to Karanga, Barafu, and Barafu is your summit camp, from which you then go to Uhuru Peak, the summit of Kilimanjaro. This is my favorite route of all. Limosho, 8 days. You start nicely in a very rural forest, mountainous rainforest, and then most of it is like the Machame route, and then you come down here after the summit, Uhuru Peak, you come down to Moika Camp, which is nicely low, so you can do not feel the altitude anymore, and you can have a success beer. They sell beer, are allowed only in Moika Camp. And higher up, any alcohol is very dangerous. Don't drink on the mountain. Only after the summit in Moika Camp, you can open one beer. That's enough. After that, you feel already the alcohol. So a lot of people these days also are interested in the Northern Circuit, which doesn't summit over Barafu Camp, but goes via Moira Hut and then Buffalo Camp. And then you can have the school hut, and then you go to Kibo Hut, and from there to the summit, and then you come down also Moika Camp. That is a 9-day route, which some people choose. The longer, the better. The Rongai route, a lesser walked route, a quieter route, which comes from the Kenyan side. Here in the north of the mountain is the Kenyan border. Kilimanjaro lies completely in Tanzania. So from Rongai camp, then to second cave, Kikelewa cave, and Mavenzi is a former vent of Kilimanjaro volcano, but it's dead now and it's very rotten from the rock, so you cannot really climb it. But there's a camp, you can go over here, or you can go over School Hut, and then you go down Horombo Hut. You basically descend the Marangu route. And that we also have done with our companies in many times. To 98%, we've done it in 7 days, because you can only acclimatize properly in 7 days minimum. If you come from high altitude, you live in Colorado, you can do maybe a 6-day climb. But for somebody like me who lives now at the seaside, I would always recommend a 7-day or 8-day climb. And with 8 days, it is much more successful. So Marangu route, I just mentioned it, the Coca-Cola route. It's also boring. You go the same way up that you come down, and usually it's offered in 5 days. And to my personal view, it's a crime, because in 5 days you acclimatize not properly. So when you arrive in Tanzania, your company will give you a briefing. Yeah, you get explained the whole route that you take, what you need to look out for, the symptoms of high altitude sickness, and so on and so on. And we gave always a little map, so people could follow it on the map. And the briefing also includes a kit check. So your guide, or maybe you come with a tour leader like me, and then we do also a kit check. If something is missing, no problem. It can be rented from the company, yeah. And like a sleeping bag, if you don't want to buy a really warm sleeping bag, you can ask the company if you can rent it from the company, yeah, and so on and so on. So after the kit check, then we say, yeah, top, you've got everything you need, or the company can lend you something against a small fee and brings it next morning when they pick you up for Kili. The most important thing, and the word you will hear a million times on Kili, is pole pole, which means slowly, slowly. The body acclimatizes only when we go very slowly. I always call that shopping speed, when you walk past windows very slowly. It's super slowly. Pole pole, you're going to love this. You should always be able to talk through pole pole. So the lower range of Kilimanjaro is a mountainous rainforest. Really beautiful. There you find endemic plants that only grow on Kilimanjaro, like the Impatiens Kilimanjari or Impacentia, Impatiens Kilimanjari. Beautiful. You find them only on Kilimanjaro. You also find black and white colobus monkeys and velvet monkeys, and these are obviously beautiful to photograph. On Zanzibar, there's another species of colobus. They are red colobus monkeys, and they only exist in a certain area of Zanzibar. This is the Shira Plateau. This was actually formerly a volcano of Kilimanjaro, but it went dead, and Kilimanjaro filled that eruption crater over thousands of years with lava waves. And geologists say those lava waves from the big Kili eruptions might have been up to 80 meters high. It is a gigantic geological event that now covers the crater and formed the Shira Plateau. Here we are already in around 4,000 meters. Camp life is tough. Yeah, it is not okay when you want to acclimatize, and your guide will tell you that. Do not sleep when you come in camp. Maybe sit, take a book, or you get on a little acclimatization walk. Drink a lot. That's the key to your success. Drinking a lot, yeah, or chill out. but don't sleep, because when your breathing gets down, your acclimatization gets also down. Do not sleep in camp. Lava tower, beautiful. Yeah, it's an old, also formerly eruption vent. Here we are in 4,600 meters, and here you have the Western Breach. Do not go with a company that offers Western Breach wall, because I'm a certified emergency and rescue manager, and my case on which I was trained was when rockfall in the Western Breach wall killed a guest and 2 porters. With the snow and ice that retreats, you can really, it's a dangerous route. And some companies offer it, say, no, I don't want to do it. It's dangerous. Beautiful plants that you find in East Africa, also in the Ruwensoris in Uganda, sorry. The giant Senecia, yeah, beautiful. That's on the way to the lower camp. You went high up to 4,600 meters, and then you go down to your next camp. This here is the key of the whole route if you climb over Moika. This is in the Barranco Wall. Barranco Wall is just a steep path, and at one point they say you have to kiss the rock. And this young lady, she's only 12 years old. She licked the rock. I don't know why. Maybe she wanted to taste it. But here you have to press your body, and the guide, as you can see, is right behind you. It doesn't go down anywhere deep, yeah? Even if you have vertigo, you can do this, yeah? It's in the Barranco Wall, which is just a steep mountain path. On Kili, it can get cold. So I think it was in Karanga camp that my guest here forgot one of her T-shirts that she washed over her tent, and it froze. And in the breakfast, she brought us that frozen T-shirt. So it can get cold at night. We say in Tanzania, pole sana. Pole sana is an expression of empathy. Your porters work hard for you. They carry a maximum of 20 kg, and they are quicker than you can even imagine from camp to camp. They start later than you and arrive earlier in camp. So, and they are paid fair in K-pop companies, but this young man should also say pole sana. But obviously we do that only to the porters of our company, because otherwise, when there are more expeditions on the way, you say all the time, pole sana, pole sana. Don't do that. If you feel like it, you can do it. Whoops. Okay, here we are at Barafu camp in 4,600 meters altitude. This is the camp on Limosho, on Machame route, also when you climb over Umwe, the steep route for 6 days, which I'm not talking about. And here you are at 4,600 meters, getting ready for your climb. Most often, the climb starts at midnight over this ramp here. You see my mouse, maybe over the black ramp, and to the left under the clouds is the summit. It is not very steep. You go in zigzags, yeah, but it's cold. It can be -15 at night, -20. You have your big puff jacket and layers, and then you walk very slowly. You can have music in your ears if you like. You start at midnight, so you arrive at the summit at 6:30, and you see the first light of the African continent on the highest point of the African continent. And that's the beauty of the game. It will be hard, but it is doable. Every person I guided up there pushed their personal boundaries. And they said, wow, it was hard, but it was beautiful. I had so much fun, but it was hard. Okay, but so are some events in life, yeah, also in the job or in sport. Sometimes you have to go over your Yeah, but the guides help you. With every person that goes to the summit, a porter or a guide is by your side. You are never alone. And in the group, Highway to Hell refers to a song that some people like to hear. Highway to Hell. And it's a fun thing to do when you go up there. So, and then we see the first silver lining of the new day in Africa. And you see already when you're so high up, this is already in 5,600 meters roundabout, you see the curvature of the earth. Yeah. And a guide is always by you to encourage you to drink your tea of your bottle so that you stay liquidized, and very important and very good to have the guides by your side. I, as a tour leader, stay always at the back so that those who take it a little bit slower and don't want to feel abandoned, I'm always with those at the end of the group. No problem. Everybody is taken care of on summit day. And then you reach the summit. Lots of people will not have the power or the inner energy to say, yeah, but a smile everybody does. I made it. Yes, it's an event of a lifetime. So these guys were unlucky. They had white out, but they reached the summit. Sometimes you have sunshine, sometimes you have clouds. You never know. The weather on Kili is unpredictable. Yeah. I had also a mixture of everything. White out. Sometimes you see the glacier and the crater, sometimes not. It is luck. Your crew. You will gonna love your crew. They are so nice to you. You can also talk to everybody and ask, okay, what is your family? Like, how many kids do you have? Or where do you live? Yeah. What is your preferred food? Ugali, a stiff maize porridge that they cook in the camp. Try to to stir that. It's maize flour with water, and this gives our porter strength. Yeah. And in camp, in some companies, they sing for you. They make this a really memorable experience, and they're really lovely characters. I love my porters, and we support them. We usually worked with. Oh, good question. I'll keep that and I answer that later, yeah? We come to that. So thank you, Clayton, for that question. Your crew is there for you. You have the porters, the guides, assistant guides. You have a cook. You have an assistant cook maybe. If you have a transportable toilet, which I would recommend, you have a toilet person who also needs to get tipped because he does the most awful job. No kidding. They all work for your benefit. Yeah, and they're really nice characters. And after that, celebrate. When you come down, the first shower will feel like the best shower in your life. And then a steak, pizza, if you're vegetarian, whatever, nice veggies, yeah, and whatever you can, and drink, yeah, no problem. Have a party, because it is the achievement of a lifetime. So I want to answer that question quickly because before we get into the fact, into the what you need to know section. And I also want to ask a question. So Clayton asked, what kind of weather and temperatures can I expect on the Limousin route in late July or early August? Well, July and August are months that come after the rainy season in April and May. So they are colder and drier. July and August is in Tanzania our winter. So it's a bit colder. So yeah, in the forest, maybe 15 to 18, maybe 19 degrees, but the weather changes, as you know, so cannot predict that. And then on Shira Plateau, it can go down to zero, between 0 and 10 degrees on 4,000 meters. And on summit day, maybe minus 15, minus 20. But your guide will every day give you a briefing for the next day and tell you what the weather will be like and what you have to dress. I hope that answers your question. As I said, I'm not a weatherman. I cannot predict, but it is in Tanzania our coldest time of the year. I want to ask something, if you allow me. I want to open a poll. Which route on Kilimanjaro would you prefer? And the poll is out there, and if you want, you can vote now. And when I have all votes in, I close the poll. Voting is still open. If you want to vote for your preferred route, go ahead. The poll is open for the next 30 seconds. 30 seconds, we poll, and then we close the poll. 30 seconds left. If you would like to give your opinion which route you would prefer, this is totally anonymous. So I take it that we have now all votes in, and with 60%, we have Lemosho 8 days, and with each 20%, we have Machame and Rongai. So the winner, so to speak, is Lemosho 8 days. So okay, now we come to the section good to know, the tips that you all are waiting for. We go through different zones. That's important to know, and that makes climbing Kilimanjaro so interesting. You drive through the farming zone. A lot of potatoes are grown around Kili, and maize and other stuff. And then in about 2,000 meters, so about 6,000 feet, you start through the rainforest. The first camp will usually be at the end of the rainforest. Then you come in 3,000 to 4,000 meters over the moorland, the Shira Plateau, which you also see behind me. Yeah, the Shira Plateau, this lava-covered volcano crater, which is no crater anymore. Then you come up over 4,000 meters into the Alpine Desert. You will find some beautiful little flowers up there. Look out for them, stunning on the rocks, yeah. And then you come in the area above 5,000 meters where you just find ice and glaciers and rock. And maximum temperatures, I have not seen this. I have seen -15 on my trips, -20, but not below that. But everything's possible. Yeah. That's why we prepare for every weather. So, health management, really important. And I'm an expert in high altitude medicine. You can ask me any questions. This is one of my core points because I come from 9 years of operating successfully on Kilimanjaro with an average summit success of about 98% on each climb. So I know, I say for myself without boasting, I know how it's done. And one key factor is a good health management. Here you see a pulse oximeter, yeah. So we note this, we do it 3 times a day, and we note those in a little paper there. And also we check breathing rate, etc. I explained it on the next foil. Sorry, it's a bit to read. So the routes of acclimatization is walk high, sleep low. That's why you should not accept an itinerary that sleeps at Lava Tower in 4,600 meters or starts at Shira Plateau already in 3,000 meters. Do not do this. You should start low and not sleep high before the summit camp. This can be in 4,600 meters because until you reach Barafu or Kibohat, you are already acclimatized. And then you can go to the summit in the same day back. You rest at the summit camp, Barafu or Kibohat, and then you go down to the last camp in the forest where it's not the altitude a problem anymore. Walk high, sleep low. Very important. And please, even if you're a super sportsman, I have had Olympic participants, I have had trained jet pilots, triathletes. It doesn't matter. Fitness just makes it more agreeable, nicer, yeah, but it doesn't help with acclimatization. So pole counts for everybody. There is slower pole and faster pole. When you want to take it really slow, well, we give you an assistant guide who walks a slower pole with you, no problem. So walk slowly, pole. More days, better chances, really crucial. Marangu 5 days, a crime. Each day more, and that is just a rule of thumb, but guides told me that. Each day more on the mountain gives you a 20% better chance to succeed. And imagine, you pay the flight, you pay hotel, you pay for the climb, the park fees, everything. It's a once in a lifetime chance. And then you ruin it by going only 5 or 6 days. That is not what you want to experience. That's why I recommend 7 or 8 days. And then you have a really good chance of reaching the summit. Drink lots of liquids, 3 to 4 liters more than you usually drink. Yeah, drink during the climb to the camp, 1.5 liters in camp, tea, and never stop drinking, which also means you have to pee more often, but it's the rule of the game. Drinking, so your blood does not thicken, because your body tries to thicken the blood, and because your breathing rate is increased during the acclimatization process. That means also that liquid is get out of your body because you breathe more often per minute. And this means that you need to drink to keep the blood flowing in your body. Very important. Your guide will also look on it. 3 times a day, we check blood oxygen levels, we check the pulse rate, we check the breathing rate and the fluid intake that a professional company does. We check for symptoms of altitude, acute mountain sickness, for high altitude pulmonary edema, or high altitude cerebral edema. The latter one, we usually don't. Over my 9 years, I had 2 cases, only 2 people of these thousands and thousands that are sent to the summit that had maybe it's HAPE or HACE, cerebral or pulmonary edema, but this is very rare. Mountain sickness, I don't like to call it acute mountain sickness, because should you get a bit of normal problems are headaches, even a bit of vomiting is totally okay. Like 2, maximum 3 days, you have a bit of headache and then it subsides and then you go on with your climb, all good. As I said, 3 to 5% of the overall population develop maybe deeper symptoms of high altitude mountain sickness, and we monitor. And here the thing is prevention. Your guide will tell you your blood oxygen levels do not look good, your headaches don't stop, you don't eat all over, it looks like a beginning high altitude, and your values are so that you have to leave the mountain. I'm sorry. And then a guide goes down, an assistant guide goes down with you, and you stay at the hotel, wait for the others. This will be covered by your insurance. If that's why you need to have a travel insurance. But it is only in the best interest of yourself. It's not evil from the guide. It's in the best interest of yourself. But it happens rarely. As I said, we have success rates around 98%. It's very rare that somebody doesn't make it to the summit. Do not sleep during daytime. I talked about of that. That reduces acclimatization. Big question. I love that question. Diamox, should I take it? The answer is, I am not allowed to give you an answer. I'm not a doctor. I'm an expert, but I'm not a doctor. So what I say is my personal opinion. It's not a guideline, okay? I have had many hundreds and thousands, thousands of guests that took Diamox. It is a medicament that was developed to cure some problem with the inner eye pressure. But it was found out that it also helps preventing high altitude cerebral and high altitude pulmonal edema. That's why a lot of people take it. Of course, I've tested it because I wanted to see, okay, what is it? Yeah, how does it work? And it made it work well with me. I also enjoyed the climb a little bit more, and I had I do well in high altitude, so I don't care so much. But I had a really pleasant climb. It is to prevent edemas, so it's okay to take. If you need to take it, take it. You must ask a doctor next here. It must be prescribed by a doctor. Do not take it when allergic, for example, to penicillin. Yeah, you must ask your doctor. If he doesn't know about high altitude and everything, he should Google it or go to a doctor who knows a bit about it. It was originally developed, I said, for treating eye pressure problems, can help prevent pulmonal and cerebral high altitude edemas. It increases the urge to urinate. It's a diureticum, like coffee. Yeah. Increased fluid intake, 4 liters plus. When you take Diamox, drink. A lot of drinking. Ask the doctor. We say always take it from the first day of climbing to the last day of climbing, and that worked perfectly. I hear in some forums, okay, take it even start before the day, before you start climbing to see if you can take it. But honestly, I have seen nearly never problems with Diamox. If you take a dose of 125 milligram after breakfast and one after dinner, you are fine. Side effect is a bit of a tingling in the fingers, and you have to pee more often. But actually, it doesn't have big side effects for most people. But as I said, that's my experience that I've seen and heard and observed with guests. But ask your doctor for the dosage. Yeah, I'm not a doctor. Very big people can take a slightly higher dosage, but for average-sized people from 165 to 186, I say 125 after breakfast, 125 after dinner. So you can cut a 250 milligram tablet in half. So the decision is not with me if you should take it, it is with your doctor. But I've seen it very often, so for me it's okay because it makes life easier, it makes the client safer because you prevent high altitude pulmonal or cerebral edema. This is an option that you can choose if you want. In addition to a Limoges route, you can sleep in the crater camp. Now this is here, you sleep at 5,700 meters. This is high. It feels like being on Mars. I did that once with a couple and we stayed in the crater and I walked them around the glaciers there and to the inner eruption channel. Kilimanjaro is not dead, it's dormant. It won't erupt in the next hundreds of years or maybe thousands of years, but it is only a dormant volcano. So you can see fumaroles rising from the inner eruption crater. But it's quite hard to sleep on 5,700 meters. I've climbed Aconcagua, which is 6,900. So my final camp was even a little bit higher. But I was pre-acclimatized, and I took much longer than on Kili. But if you go on Kili, you can do it. It could be a hard night, but then next day you go down, so no problem. That's an option. It's like being on Moon or Mars. Wilderness first responder. Many professional companies have guides with a wilderness first responder. Usually in 99.9%, nothing happens. But what if something happens? If something falls, if somebody falls or breaks a leg or has a gashing wound or whatever, a wilderness first responder knows what to do, helps professionally. They are not doctors, but they know even grave cases, how to deal with them. And this is why in my companies that I worked for or was a general manager of in Tanzania, we trained all our guides on wilderness first responder because it never happens. But if something happens, you want to have guides that know what to do. K-pop, very, very dear to my heart. K-pop is the Kilimanjaro Porters Assistance Project. You find them usually at the last camp when you go out, yeah, Moika Gate or Marangu Gate. They are there. You will not recognize them, but they interview the porters. How was your salary? What was your equipment, etc. They set guidelines after which all companies that are registered with K-pop pay and treat their mountain staff. Equipment, yeah, shoes, maximum weight, salary, tip evenly distributed, and so on. Also, K-pop trains. K-pop trains on the leave no trace, which is the guideline I always followed with my groups and in my companies. Leave no trace, leave no paper, leave no rubbish, leave nothing on Kili. It's a national park. Yeah, and the K-pop porters are trained on that. Yeah, they are also trained to be leave no trace instructors. Also, money management, communal first aid, because in the villages where the porters come from, they have no nursery, no dispensary. So community-based first aid in Kiswahili, and so on. But really dear to my heart. I helped them, I supported Kilimanjaro Porters Assistance Project to all my time, and all reputed companies are members of Kilimanjaro Porters Assistance Project. If your company is not registered with them, they didn't allow because that company doesn't treat their mountain staff well. You should only go with a K-pop company to make sure your mountain staff is treated well. As I said, K-pop guarantees fair wages, lends equipment to porters, monitors companies for following the K-pop guidelines, trains for leave no trace, educates porter rights, offers community-based money management and first aid training. This was developed actually in Nepal because something like this exists also in Nepal for the reputed mountain companies there. But it lives in Tanzania since many, many years, more than 2 decades now. Personal equipment, very, very important. Shoes, not the clothing, the shoes are the key to enjoying your climb. We usually say your mountain boot should be between, let's say, B to C, better C. On the example C, you see that you have around the shoe, you have protection against the rock because you walk over a lot of rocks, and they are also warm, yeah, when it gets cold up on Kili. But classic mountain boots are also okay. B to C, not D that has a stiff sole for crampons. B to C or C is fine. You must try on the shoe with a liner sock and a warm sock. You should try it in a shop, or when you cannot do it, protect the soles so they don't get dirty when you get sent your boots from an online service, and try them on a slope. On a slope, your big toe should not bump against the front end of the shoe. Then it is proper. It should feel like a glove because you walk all over 20, 30, up to 40 kilometers on Kili. It's a long, long time. So, of course, we follow the layer principle. We have here the base layer, like ski underwear, yeah. Also merino underwear is good, whatever suits you. Then we have the middle layer, can be a light fleece or a thicker fleece. Maybe you freeze more often, that is totally fine. So, and that is the base and the middle layer. Then you have the outer layer, like the rain and wind protection layer, yeah. And then for summit day, also for warm camp days, I always love that to have my puff jacket on in the mess tent, yeah, where you get served breakfast, lunch, dinner, or breakfast, dinner, lunch en route, depends, yeah, is a puff jacket. And on summit day, you will love this because on summit day, you walk usually even a bit slower. And because it's colder and windier up there, it's good to have an extra warm layer. Bags. I've heard a million different things in forums, but what it boils down to is really this. Your day pack should only, you should only carry like 6 to 8 kg. Your water, your rain gear, sunscreen, little first aid package, your snacks for on the way to give you energy, or some nuts or whatever, maybe a cap. Yeah, it is not much that you carry. The majority is carried by your porters, and you should not give your porter a backpack like a rucksack. Porters love these waterproof bags. You get them from many companies. Yeah, I will not make advertising here. So a day hiking pack is fine, 30 to 40 liters. Yeah, should have a rain cover because in the first day you go through a rainforest, a mountainous rainforest, and that means your backpack should have a rain cover. And your porters, you give this, you can open from the top, you can organize your stuff really well. 70 to 100 liters is fine. The key rule on Kili is less is more. Take your socks, take some undies. You know, everybody on Kili smells because we don't have so much water. You get maybe a bowl in the morning to wash your hands and so on, and your face and your hands from your drinking water. You brush your teeth, and that's it. We all smell. So Hakuna Matata, as we say, you know it from the Lion King, Hakuna Matata, yeah. Less is more, but the key things you should have in there. And what I always love, because I have a sweet tooth, I love my snacks, like maybe a Mars bar or Bounty or a chocolate that I love. It's good for the soul. Take some soul food with you that you love, maybe salted caramel, whatever does the trick for you. Yeah. So 1 day hiking pack, 1 bag for the porters, and the rest you leave in the hotel, or the company stores it for you in a locked that you can discuss. Hygiene, super important. Super important because we all went through COVID now, and on the mountain, hygiene is also very important. Not so much for COVID, but for diarrhea. We want to avoid diarrhea and to pass it on. Before the mess tent where you eat, you will find usually a stand with water and soap. Wash your hands every time you enter the mess tent. You touch some food, wash your hands or use the antibacterial wet wipes. Yeah. If you climb with a company that offers your toilet, one toilet is usually for 4 to 5 guests. Yeah. One toilet, it's like a chemical toilet on the mountain. That is cool. I love that. Yeah. Because the official toilets from the park are long drops and they smell awfully. But if you don't feel like it, if there's a wind, if the temperature drop, it's okay to pee in the tent. On the mountain, you are not allowed plastic bottles, but you're allowed Nalgene bottles. Yeah, these you can use them as a drinking bottle. Just don't mix them. Don't mix them. Have a different color for them. I've had guests who pee at night in the Nalgene bottle. No problem. You close it. Next morning, you put it in the toilet. Hakuna Matata. Yeah. For women, there is this device that you may know when you've done trekking tours before, and it works the same way. You pee into your Nalgene bottle, and next day you pour it into the toilet, into the long drop, Hakuna Matata, or into the chemical toilet of your company. No problem. But I usually use the toilet even at night, but I'm a hardened mountaineer, so I'm not the right example. A camping towel. Great. Yeah. to wash yourself in the morning, when you get some water from your mountain stuff, and then you dry yourself a little bit. It dries easily when you hang it outside your backpack. And as I said, wet wipes, really important. Wet wipes instead of using toilet paper, and they go in the bucket. You keep them, you carry them down. You don't put them anywhere. You carry them down with you. But with those, you can also clean yourself very well. So hygiene. Wash your hands before you eat, and the rest I explained. So, no advertising, but I want to inform you, and you can spread the word if you would like to help our cause. I've explained to you why K-pop is so crucial. I will also post a link to K-pop in the chat. Just let me open that quickly, because there you find this list, exactly. Climb with a partner for response, and really all big and small, all company with a good reputation. I post this now in the chat, so you can copy that and bookmark it. There on this page you find the list of all companies that are K-pop registered, that follow the FAIR guidelines. You can copy that link and bookmark it. So in September, I will tour lead myself a charity climb, and all the proceeds will go to K-pop, because during COVID, the porters, everybody had a really hard time. I know companies that have given the porters additional land so they can farm, so they have food to feed their family and often their extended family, grandma, grandpa. K-pop does an invaluable work and has achieved that the vast majority of companies treats porters fairly. But there are more than 100 Kili companies out there, and not all of them. If you hear from whatever Kili, Wonder, Share, whatever, Kili, that, it is legit to open a Kili company. But cheap is sometimes to a disadvantage from somebody. So I would urge you very kindly to climb with a K-pop company. You find the list under the link I gave you. So in September 2023, the dates will come, because I'm still talking to 3 companies that are in my inner choice, that are all K-pop members, of course. And I'm talking to K-pop how we best do it. And but if you want to register, you have my email, and you can email me. Yep, I would be interested. You can spread the word. If you know a colleague who wants to climb Kili, I hope it has been a fun presentation by me, and you have the feeling that I'm a good tour leader on Kili. I make it fun, safe, and successful for you. I cannot guarantee summit success, but I can do everything that is in the power of me and my team on the mountain to make it enjoyable, safe, and successful for you. And we do that in September next year, our charity climb for K-pop. And with this, I say, see ya on Kili, and we always say, Hakuna Matata, no problem. Everything can be solved. I have pushed buses through mud at the night at Kili when a mountain team came down earlier, and I had to push because the bus had been in deep mud. So I pushed the bus with some other people. We were covered from head to toe in mud. But Hakuna Matata, if you do it together in a team, everything can be achieved. So, and this was it. I hope you had fun. And now is the Q&A section. If you have any questions, please shoot away. I'm opened my question window. So if you have any questions, shoot away, ask questions. I'm here to answer them. Allow me to take a drink. If you have any question, you can post it in the question window or in the conversation. Yes, I mean, if you have the urge, if you drink as much as we require you to drink, of course it can happen, but you have to mention it to the head guide, to the tour leader, or to an assistant guide or porter that comes with you, that you step aside. It's okay, they wait, and yeah, it's okay. If you want to poo, you maybe dig a hole and you cover it afterwards, yeah, or something like this. Yeah, of course, it's possible. If you have the urge, you don't have to hold it. No, you can pee. But let your crew know so you don't get lost. Anything else I have not covered yet? For sure. I cannot cover everything. Yeah, you can have your own small garbage bag. Also, the team usually has a garbage bag that they carry back down. No garbage is left on Kili, at least not in the companies I work for. You can put it. I have always my own private garbage bag where I put the wrappers. Maybe I have a Bounty with me or a Mars bar or chocolate bar. I put the paper in that bag and I throw it away outside of the national park in a garbage bin. Yes, you can use wet wipes as a toilet paper. Some people find that more pleasant. The staff, when you have your private toilet up there, yeah, usually 4 to 5 guests per toilet. And my client, we will have maybe 2 toilets, up to 3. The charity client will be 12 to 15 people with me. And then we have 2 or 3 private toilets. And there, the staff will usually provide toilet paper. But many people have a sensitive bum, if I may use the word, and they want to use the wet wipe. Totally fine. Yeah, just throw the paper, not in the toilet, throw it in the garbage bin that is in the tent, and the staff will bring it down. No problem. Hakuna Matata. And antibacterial wet wipes are really good if there is not so much water for washing, and if you feel like it, you can disinfect your hands. I love them, And on Kili, you are dusty, it's good. When you take the shower after Kili, you will wonder how much comes off your body. It is impressive how dirty you are up there. But you can do the most you can with wet wipes or with the water in the morning. But we are all in the same boat. So as I said, it's an adventure. Yeah. Very good question. Very good question. The water on Kili, with all the professional companies, they use water filters and they also use a tablet to make it, so to speak, sterile. So it's treated by the mountain staff, and the water that you've been given is then also cooked, so for tea, and then let cool for the normal drinking water. Yeah, so you don't need to care about the. I have had an email from one company that offered their services for my charity climb, and they say, please bring your own tablets. No, you don't have to. This company I didn't choose. The team does it for you, and on summit day, for example, in your Nalgene, because in Nalgene you can fill in hot water, you put in your hot tea, yeah, and drink it. The camel bags, old discussion. Yes, it has happened to me, my mouth, because I love them, because they make you drink. I drink more with the Camelback, yeah, because the mouthpiece is over your shoulder right here. I love it, yeah. But on summer day, when it's -15, windy, even if I put it down here, it can freeze, yeah. So for me, it's not a problem. I warm it in my hands. I put warm air on it, and then somehow I can drink. Yeah, I use Camelback, but it's a personal preference. Many people, meanwhile, like these Nargene bottles or thermos and drink from that. It's totally fine. And yes, yes. Usually, you take, if you like not to use at night the camp toilet, which is usually in view of your tent, so just a couple of steps. But if you say, no, I don't want to go out in that night, totally understandable. You can use one bottle for pee with a yellow color, and then you have the white bottle, maybe two, because remember, on the way from camp to camp, you drink 1.5 liter. You must drink 1.5 liter, and it's easier to drink when you walk. So I always cover my duty of drinking mostly while walking. And in camp, you drink tea, you fill your bottle with tea, so you can drink also in the tent before you get to sleep. So, so one small Nargene bottle, like 1 liter, and then 1.5 liter drinking opportunity for the rest of the days. I always had a bladder. I fill my tea in my bladder, my water, my flavored water in the bladder, in the Camelback, yeah. But you can also have a big thermos, yeah, and drink, or a big Nargene and drink from that big Nargene. Or I have 2 Nargenes, left and right. Up to you. Most important, you are able to carry 1.5 liters, and on summer day it's a thermos alone. On the crater rim, that's called Stellar Point, in 5,700 meters roundabout, the crew will also provide some tea for you and check on you again if you're good to go to the summit, because once you reach the crater rim, the worst is done. The crater rim is very wide, yeah, so you can easily walk along now, and you see the summit already. So it's another 20 minutes to half an hour on the crater rim, and then you reach the summit, and it's a wonderful feeling. So yeah, 1 pea bottle, 1 or 2 bottles, or a Camelback and a bottle for your drinking requirements. Yes. Any further question? Yeah, my pleasure. If you cannot think about a question now, you can always email me your questions. I type my email address again here in the chat. You can always email me under that email address. Sleeping mats, very good question, Peter. And thank you, Mary, for that question. First, I answer Peter. Sleeping mats. Ask your Kili company. Most companies, meanwhile, provide a sleeping mat in the tent. That's included in the price. If not, you rent one. I would not take I love my Thermarest. When I go camping, Thermarest, wow, really cool. Yeah. But it's better if the porters carry your mat, and when you come to camp, your tent is erected, your mat is in there, and then you just pull out your sleeping bag from your bag. You shake it out before you go to the mess tent for your lunch break or tea, whatever. You shake your sleeping bag so it can get big. Yeah. Sleeping bags can also be rented by the company and can be included. If you do it only once in a lifetime, and usually you just do beach walks, no problem. they will rent it to you, a proper sleeping bag, and it's cleaned before every climb. We did this always. Sleeping bag goes to the dry cleaner, bomb bag, shaken out, smell test, super, fresh like new. Yeah. So you can rent it also. You talk to your company. If you think, oh, I could do this more often anyway, or maybe go also to Iceland or North Norway, chasing northern lights, yeah, then you can buy one, yeah. And I can answer also questions or give some tips how the sleeping bag should be, what is comfort temperature and what is extreme temperature. The extreme temperature doesn't matter to you. The comfort temperature is crucial to -20 or -15. Yeah. So on. Sleeping bag liner needed. Well, some feel when I rent a sleeping bag, yes, it's clean, but I would feel more hygienic with a liner. Yeah, perfect. A liner also adds 1 degree, maybe 1.5, 2 degrees, but 1 or 2 degrees, it adds to your, sleeping bag temperature. And many people feel it is more hygienic with a bag. I, on Kili, used always my own sleeping bag, or even those from the company when I was lazy. And I didn't want to open 2 zippers when I want to go peeing. So I never used the liner. Once I used the liner. Yeah, once. Yeah, well, it's okay. Yeah, it's good to use a liner. It increases your sleeping bag temperature. And the next question, rent or bring poles? Again, good question and very valuable question, because it depends on how often you want to do this. I always bring my own because, well, I have them and I like the feeling, the grip. I have a cork grip. Yeah, I love that cork grip. And I walk with them, and you must have them. There's no either or. Walking poles are a must for your knees. You want to keep your knees. Yeah. You can rent them from the company, no problems. They will be cheap, maybe $5 per pair, no problem. Yeah. You can rent whatever you don't want to buy yourself. Ask the company what they can rent to you. Okay. I bring my own because I more often do those tours. And then it makes sense to have exactly the walking pole you like with my cork grip. Headlight. You have walking poles. You don't want to. And the headlight works also in the camp because you usually have a hook in the tent and you can put your headlight up there and have a reading light. Why not? But headlight, yes, def. Because when you walk, for example, when you start at midnight at Barafu or Kibuhat, most likely Barafu, you need your headlight. Yeah, you trot away in the dark and the porter sing for you, or you have some music in your ear. Many people do this. Yeah, they hear their favorite workout music. Yeah, everybody's personal preference. Yeah, headlight def. Phone charging. I sometimes say, why not do a digital detox? However, if your love, because good companies, you can ask them. If you leave an address, an email address, good companies rate you every day how everybody on the mountain is doing and where they're going back to the headquarter, or they radio it, and then the headquarter can email relatives or friends. Okay, team is now going to Barafuhat. Everybody's fine, no problems, all good. Yeah. Other than that, you can take a power bank with which you can load a phone 2 times. Yeah. Solar can also work, but you need a big cell. And if you have overcast sky, and I would only switch on the phone when I really want to do messages, because meanwhile you got better reception on Kili. They put some mobile masts somewhere on Kili. So there is a better net, which increases safety, of course, because anyway. What camera? I mean, meanwhile, because charging is a problem up there, not a real problem, but it's a weight problem. You don't want to take 3 power banks. I usually take a camera, a nice digital camera. You can have them also in a hip bag. Yeah, I have like my revolver bag. Take it out, make my photo, back in. That works also because the air there is so clear and so clean. The photos are so high contrast and sharp, really nice. One can bring a small travel camera like a Canon PowerShot, also makes really good photos. Whatever suits you. I would prefer a camera because charging a phone can be. But if you have an iPhone, the photo quality of an iPhone is so good, yeah. If you just switch it on to make a photo and then, but on the other hand, it's an adventure of your lifetime. Why not coming home with 200 photos or 300 photos? Because it's so interesting, you know. And you bond with your group. Why not photographing your group members? I personally would prefer a camera over a phone. Yeah, when you use your phone for photos, that's totally fine. Just make sure you can load it. You can have on your backpack a solar cell, or you can take a power bank. You can have one power bank in your backpack, but again, backpack shouldn't be heavier than 6 to 8 kilogram. And give 1 or 2 power banks to the porter. They must not carry more from you. They get maybe maximum 15 kg. Some companies 12 to 13 kg. Then they take their own stuff and food, max 20 kg for the porter. So, but yeah, 1 or 2 power banks should do the trick, I'd say. Anything else you want to ask? Perfect. You have my email address. You have the list of Kilimanjaro, of the reputed and fair Kilimanjaro companies under the KPUB link. And thank you very much, Mary Clayton. It was my pleasure. Yeah. And if you feel like it, send me an email if you're interested or you know somebody, and we can support KPUB next September. I'll be there. Going up Limosha route, 8 days on Kili. And I say goodbye with a heartfelt Hakuna Matata. Nothing is a problem. We can solve everything. See you on Kili.